Coverage of today's events in Egypt. We are joined by Edward Derision, the former U.S. ambassador to Israel and Syria. Ambassador Derision is the founding director of the Baker Institute for Public Policy on the campus of Rice University in Houston. Mr. Ambassador, welcome to Bottom Line. Thanks so much for joining us today.
Good to be with you, Mark.
Mr. Ambassador, as we mentioned, you spent most of your diplomatic career in the Middle East. What do today's events in Egypt mean for the region as a whole?
Well, I think fundamentally what we're witnessing that started in Tunisia and now manifested itself in a much larger playing field in Egypt is what I would call a tectonic shift in the political landscape of the Middle East. What's happening in the single most populous and important country in the Arab world has been a people's revolt. It started with the people. It was not, and one should underscore this, a Islamist revolt. You didn't hear or see many placards saying Islam is the solution. This was truly a broad spectrum of Egyptians who were reclaiming their country. And so this will have implications for every country in the Middle East and especially the Arab world. That I'm not saying that there's a domino effect, but certainly every regime in the Middle East is going to have to look at its policies and try to determine how it is going to meet its people's expectations.
Well, but sir, what does this mean for the stalemated peace talks between the Israelis and the Palestinians?
That's a very good question, and I don't think anyone has a good answer for that. But there are two schools of thought. One, that given what's happened in Egypt, everything is on hold and will have to be on hold until we determine what the end game in Egypt is. There's another school of thought saying, no, this is the time to move forward on the single most important political issue in the Arab-Israeli context in the Middle East, and that is really the Palestinian issue, and in general, Arab-Israeli peace on all fronts, including with Syria and Lebanon. So a strong case can be made for Israel and the Palestinian Authority to re-engage in talks because that would help stabilize the region.
All right. Mr. Ambassador, if you don't mind, we're going to take a short commercial break, and we're going to ask you to stand by because I have a couple more questions for you. The former U.S. ambassador to Israel and Syria, Edward Derision, joining us from Rice University in Houston. And coming up, continuing the focus on Egypt as it celebrates its historic day. You're watching Bloomberg's Bottom Line with a live shot of Tahrir Square in Cairo.
Bloomberg Television is brought to you in part by TD Ameritrade.
Can a trading site help make you a sharper trader? Mine can.
TD Ameritrade can.
They've got trading specialists I can call for help.
And paper trading.
Free practice trading that helps me hone my technique.
Complex options.
And free tutorials, online or in person.
Can a trading site really make a difference?
If it can't, why are you trading there?
#1 in online equity trades, TD Ameritrade.
Trade commission-free for 30 days. Plus, get up to $500 when you open an account.
Verizon believes that no small business should be invisible, so we decided to help a real small business make it easier for customers to find them.
My name's Elizabeth Hines. We're at Isabella's Boutique in Rock Center, New York.
Do me a favor and search for your business.
All right.
What'd you find?
Nothing.
I mean, if you don't have a website, you're basically invisible.
40% of small businesses don't have a website, but with Verizon websites powered by Intuit, it's so easy you can do it yourself, and so powerful it can make any small business more visible.
Add photos, then we'll hit publish.
I have a website?
You have a website.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe it was that easy.
Verizon can put your small business on over 100 search sites so customers can find you with a personalized business email address that connects with your site.
Visit me at isabellasny.com.
Small business owners, don't be invisible. Call today and get a 6-month free trial of Verizon websites powered by Intuit when you sign up for Verizon's reliable high-speed internet and phone for business, just $59.99 a month with no term contract required. Verizon, the hardest working network in business.
I'm Ed Burns. I've spent a lot of time around cameras. However, I've never actually swallowed one before. Till now. It's a camera the size of a pill that lets your doctor see inside of you. kind of awesome.
Technology is evolving. Shouldn't the way you invest in it evolve as well? Call 1-800-iShares to request a prospectus, which includes investment objectives, risk, fees, expenses, and other information that you should read and consider carefully before investing. Investing involves risk, including possible loss of principal.
You ran to San Francisco without me.
Hey, you ran Paris yesterday.
Are you running uphill?
Yep. It does whatever the street does.
Well, hurry up, okay? Because I want to run through Central Park.
Ooh, another flat run.
With iFit powered by Google Maps, run anywhere on your treadmill's 10-inch touchscreen. And now save $1,000 on the ProForm 1450. Sports Authority, all things sporting good.
Again, a live look at Tahrir Square in Cairo, Egypt. Thousands of people still milling about, ignoring a curfew to celebrate the resignation of President Hosni Mubarak, something that the protesters have been calling for the past 2.5 weeks. Mr. Mubarak resigning and handing power to the military. We're joined once again by Edward Derision, the former U.S. ambassador to Israel and Syria. Ambassador Derision, the founding director of the Baker Institute for Public Policy on the campus of Rice University in Houston. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for staying with us through the commercial break. As we went to commercial, we were talking about what you call the tectonic shift that is taking place now in the Middle East, and you noted that this was a democratic revolution. It wasn't a resolution that was based on religion. What is the significance then of people who are saying that maybe the Muslim Brotherhood, which President Mubarak had outlawed, that maybe the Muslim Brotherhood might have a seat at the table in negotiations trying to form a new government?
There's no doubt in my mind, Mark, that the Muslim Brotherhood, which represents about 15 to 20% of the body politic in Egypt, will have a seat at the table, will have the seat in any national union talks that I think will take place in Egypt, will have a seat in whatever coalition will be structured in Egypt in terms of a transition to a fuller and freer democracy. So the Muslim Brotherhood is an important constituency, but this is important. It's going to be part of a coalition. It is not going to be the coalition.
Sir, but as you're no doubt aware, a lot of people have expressed concerns about the Muslim Brotherhood even having a small role in the formation of a government.
That's true. The concern is there because the concern basically is what faction of the Muslim Brotherhood is going to prevail in Egypt. Is it going to be the more radical wing? Is it going to be the professionals or the more moderate wing? We'll have to see. The other fear is that the Muslim Brotherhood could hijack the revolution and after participating in coalition talks could then try to monopolize the political power in Egypt. But this is very speculative. I think if you see what's happened in Egypt, the Wael Ghanim, the internet, Facebook, Egyptian, made a comment that once the psychology of fear was broken amongst the Egyptian people, all the people came together, the professionals, the liberals, the entrepreneurs, the Muslim Brotherhood, even the military, all factions came together. So what you're going to see is a transition under the management of the Egyptian military, and hopefully it'll be a peaceful, orderly transition to constitutional change, new parliamentary elections and presidential elections, and the Muslim Brotherhood will have a role in all of that.
Mr. Ambassador, what's the U.S.'s role right now, considering that there is this power vacuum in Egypt?
Well, I think first of all, we have a rhetorical role to certainly be on the right side of history, to promote our values of democracy and social justice and the rule of law. This is all very important. At the same time, more pragmatically, we have excellent relationships with the Egyptian military, which is really the guardian of this political transition in Egypt now.
Right.
And that's where I think our efforts will be focused to assure that there's a peaceful transition to the rule of law and democracy in Egypt.
Mr. Ambassador, in our last 45 seconds, I've asked a couple of our guests this question. I'll pose it to you as well. What is Hosni Mubarak's legacy?
Well, I think part of his legacy is that he was a military leader of Egypt. He did maintain the structure of Arab-Israeli peace. He was certainly an ally of the United States and the West on many national security issues in the Middle East, but at the same time, he was a leader who tried to monopolize political power in Egypt and overstayed his welcome. And so it's a mixed legacy.
All right, Edward Derision, the former U.S. ambassador to Israel and Syria, joining us from Rice University in Houston. Mr. Ambassador, thank you so much for your time and your perspective. We appreciate it.
My pleasure.
Well, just ahead, day 3 of our food insecurity.